welcome to the deep dive. So you know how we do this. We've got a stack of sources in front of us.
A really interesting stack today.
Yeah, it's a mix of astrological forecasts, some tarot analysis, and this narrative piece called a StoryScope. And they're all focused on one day, November 15th, 2025.
And the mission, really, is to find a way to handle what all the sources are calling big feelings. It's very consistent across the board.
There's the central tension,
A
right?
huge one. It's this choice between, digging in your heels, that lone strength idea.
Right, accepting vulnerability.
Exactly. Accepting that vulnerability to find compromise, to find some kind of relational balance.
And the sources are pretty insistent that some big improvements, they just cannot happen if you try to go it alone.
That's the core message. It's a day that asks you to soften the ego, just a little, to move away from pride and toward connection.
So this is basically our shortcut to finding some harmony when things feel pretty intense.
That's the goal.
Okay, let's start where I think everyone feels it first, which is the morning. The energy just feels heavy.
It does. And the sources get that. They're very clear that these big feelings are genuinely exhausting.
But they pinpoint the reason, which I found fascinating. It's not the feeling itself, it's an insecurity.
Right. It's this lack of confidence in our own ability to handle the emotion when it comes up.
And that triggers what? A defense mechanism?
A very common one. We over-identify with strength. We think, I just need to be tougher. And that pride becomes this heavy cloak.
But what's so interesting is that even with all that weight, the morning's energy is actually humming with potential.
Hugely transformative potential, even if it feels quiet and, internal. We start with the moon in Virgo.
Right. Virgo is all about the details, cleaning house, internal processing.
So the universe is already doing the repair work for you just beneath the surface.
Because how is it doing that? What are the mechanics here?
Well, what's fascinating is we have the Virgo moon in a trine with Pluto.
And Pluto is deep transformation, subconscious stuff.
Exactly. And a trine is a harmonious, easy flow of energy. So what that means is that deep psychological healing is happening without you even trying. Your system is just working on it.
Wow. So we're kind of getting a free pass on the hardest emotional work?
In a way.
That sounds amazing. But then why does it feel so heavy if the work is happening in the background?
That's the other key aspect.
Yeah.
We also have the Virgo moon sextile Mercury retrograde.
Ah, Mercury retrograde, communication turned inward.
Right. So all these deep insights from Pluto are trying to bubble up. But because Mercury is retrograde, we can't articulate them. They don't come out as clear thoughts.
They come out as, what, hunches.
Exactly. Gut feelings, strange intuitive pulls. You feel the pressure cooker effect, but you don't have the language for it. And that's what's so exhausting.
I see. Okay, so what's the actionable advice here? What do we do?
You pause the big world-conquering efforts just for the morning. And instead, you redirect your focus to one small personal repair.
Like what?
Fix a small habit. Clean one corner of your desk. Clarify one little boundary. Let that small, achievable success be your guide for the bigger things later.
So don't try to win the war. Just secure one supply line.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Okay, so the morning is for that quiet, internal work. But then this afternoon, the energy just shifts completely.
It's a dramatic shift.
We go from that internal, detail-oriented Virgo to Libra, which is all external, all about relationship.
And that pivot is, I think, foundational to the whole day's message. When the moon moves into Libra, the rulebook changes.
How so?
Virgo energy says, I have to fix this. But Libra energy says, wait, beauty and balance. They emerge between two different things.
Like two sides of a scale.
Precisely. You need both to find the equilibrium.
So if you spent the morning wrestling with some problem that just felt too big, the reason you couldn't solve it might just be that it needed another person's input. It wasn't a personal failure.
That is exactly what the sources are saying. Some improvements can only happen in a relational context. You can't, negotiate with yourself.
You can try. It doesn't usually go well.
It does not. So the Libra shift is the universe basically opening the door and saying, okay, time to ask for some help.
But here's a question. If the morning was about pausing, isn't there a risk of rushing into collaboration just because the energy changes? How do we not just, compromise too quickly?
That's a really critical point. And the answer is that the morning's Virgo work, that small, precise repair, that's your foundation.
Ah, so you bring that into the partnership.
Yes. You're not coming from a place of desperation. You're coming from a place of, a small but renewed sense of integrity. And it's helped along tonight by the Libra moon sextile Mars.
Okay, so Mars is action, drive.
Right. And a sextile in Libra encourages diplomatic collaborative action. So the energy is actively pushing us to lay down our swords and work together.
It's a window for those difficult conversations that need a bit of grace.
A perfect window. It's time to act on the hunches from the morning, but to do it through dialogue, not through brute force.
And this move towards cooperation, it brings us right to the day's emotional reality check. The TarotScope.
A very potent one today.
It's moose reversed. And this card really explains why that solitary approach is just not going to work.
To get the reversal, you have to understand the upright card first. Upright moose is massive power, sturdiness, the ability to endure anything alone, that classic stoic figure.
Okay. So moose reversed means that strength has actually become a problem.
It has become the very thing weighing you down. The tarot confirms that the emotional weight you're feeling is heavier precisely because you are over-identifying with that pride.
The exhaustion isn't a sign of weakness.
It's not a failure. It is a vital signal. A signal to pull back, recalibrate, and trust those small acts of self-support we were talking about.
You know, we all know that feeling when you just dig in your heels because admitting you need help feels like weakness. What's the consequence of that pride?
The sources call it the pride paradox. Pride acts like this dense shield, but it doesn't just block out criticism. It blocks out healing. It blocks out connection.
And the security is what? The fear that people will see us as less than.
Exactly. That if we admit we're overwhelmed, we lose our moose stature. So the message is simple. Find the humility to ask for help.
Which connects perfectly to that Libra energy.
Perfectly. The guiding principle for the whole day becomes repair, not conquest.
Yeah.
It's a shift from grand gestures to sincerity and precision.
And the solution is only found in dialogue, in cooperation.
You have to lower the antlers. If you keep them up, you stay trapped in that paradox.
To really help visualize what that means, to lay down that mantle of lone strength, we have the story scope. It's called The Moose Who Lowered His Antlers.
The beautiful story.
And it's about this character, the tall one, who is known for his sturdy legs and his antlers as wide as a winter moon. But he wakes up with this great, inexplicable weight in his chest.
It's the perfect mirror for that heavy Virgo moon feeling. And what does he do? He tries to lift his head higher, force noble posture. He thinks pride will just chase the feeling away.
But it doesn't work.
Of course not. The more he tries to stand tall, the heavier the weight gets. And he sees his reflection, sees his magnificent antlers just drooping. And he feels this deep shame.
And then comes the intervention. A finch, small, precise.
Perched on a reed that bends with the breeze. And her advice is really the core lesson of the entire day.
What does she say?
She tells him, strength is not in standing against the winds, but in learning when to bend.
He probably didn't like that. Bowing sounds like surrender.
He resisted first, but Finch clarifies. She says, don't bow to the wind. Try lowering your antlers, bowing to yourself. Because when you bow to yourself, you bow to the truth.
And that's the aha moment.
That's it. The story says as he slowly lets his antlers fall, just this visible act of humility, something inside him loosens. The pressure is released. It was a small act of personal repair.
Just like the Virgo moon asked for.
But that's only half the journey. Then comes the Libra shift, the relational piece, and it's embodied by Deer.
It just shows up quietly.
Just shows up, senses his sorrow, and Deer doesn't offer a fix or some grand speech, just presence.
Deer says, you need not hide it. None of us are meant to carry our hearts alone.
And Moose, who always thought asking for support would make him weaker, suddenly feels this warmth, this lightness. The weight doesn't vanish,
No.
but it becomes bearable. It becomes shared. The burden shrinks because it's witnessed.
Wow.
And the final lesson of the story just synthesizes everything. Even the strongest must sometimes lower their antlers. Even the tallest must sometimes bend.
And beauty grows greatest where two paths meet.
That's it. It's the whole day in one image, moving from internal repair to communal harmony.
So when we put this all together, what does this deep dive mean for you for November 15th?
I think it means recognizing that exhaustion you might be feeling. It's a signal. It's not a failure.
And your path forward is through connection, not just trying harder by yourself. It's a day to just soften your expectations.
Yes, and to embrace the grace of receiving help, realizing that a small inward repair or a shared conversation is so much more productive than just, solitary striving.
So, a final thought to leave you with?
If the deepest healing happens beneath your consciousness in the morning and the greatest beauty comes from harmony in the afternoon, then consider this for your own day.
What is one small, precise act of self-support or maybe relational compromise that you can initiate?
Knowing that humility, not pride, is the real engine of transformation today.
Go forth and find your equilibrium. We really encourage you to explore these sources for yourself, and we'll be here next time digging even deeper.